Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feedstuffs 365. I'm Sarah Muirhead. Meteorologist Greg Soulje is with us here today. Welcome back, Greg. Great to have you.
Same here, Sarah. Nice to be with you here on a pretty comfortable summer day's worth of weather across the heartland, the Corn Belt, and things continue to percolate and tick along quite nicely out there in the back 40 with corn and soybeans in mind. And like you said, the past few weeks between you and I, nobody else, maybe I think that crop is made out there if we can stay away from the severe stuff like they had over the northwestern Corn Belt last week. But yeah, very nice spell of weather underway, except for this ongoing smokiness and Canadian and U.S. fire situation that gets caught up in the jet stream from time to time and reduces visibility. Is tough on people who have problems with breathing and all that. And you can smell those that smokiness from time to time. At least I can here in our part of the Midwest.
Oh, most definitely. They say that smoke also can impact the corn, the crops, the just development of, but I don't know how significant that might be.
Yeah, I think when we had this a couple of 2 or 3 years ago, there were folks maybe in Michigan that tried to do a study that is on I think it's the lack of full insulation, sun's rays on those crops that might have an impact. I don't think they got much further than just thinking about it, but they make a great point. If that's a persistent situation in the northern Corn Belt, we'll see what transpires with development going down the line.
Well, for now, let's take a look at what we're expecting here in the next few days, Greg. Slides are up.
Okay, here we go. And nothing too big headline-ish on the weather maps and charts here as we greet you on this first Tuesday in August. Summertime is flying on by, and the smokiness has returned with an upper air weather system. And you can see that there are a number of channels that we look at on the satellite data, an infrared channel, red channel picks up certain kind of clouds, blue channel, the visible imagery, and the visible imagery clearly defines a band of smoke back into play this morning. Parts of Wisconsin, more so through Michigan and the lower lakes region. That over the past weekend was far south as I-70. We've reduced visibilities down to a couple of miles at times at Champaign. And you could even get a whiff of that from time to time. But that has since been scoured out. There's been one weather system that kind of, this time of the year, those showers and thunderstorms, when they're cut off from the circulation, they just have a mind of their own. Places around Terre Haute and Noble County in Indiana, for example, Knox County, I should say, and around the Vincennes area, 2, 3, 4 inches of rain yesterday. But apart from that little hiccup, everything else is basically under control. And look at these numbers: 3/4, 73% of the U.S. corn crop, 69% of the beans rated good to excellent. Last time we had that was back in July of 2016, when 76% of the corn was rated good to excellent. So if we can stay away, get another rain or two, and I think we'll be able to do that between now and Labor Day. Maybe not quite the coverages that we've seen as this drier process, by the way, is slowly getting underway as the tropics in the Atlantic are slowly getting underway. Note the correspondence here. We'll take a look at that in just a second, but get another rain or two, we will have everything, especially the bean side and late planted varieties, certainly made. Meanwhile, back into the plain states, there's some showers and thunderstorms up across the Dakotas. They're getting roughed up around Bismarck at the current time, and from there north and westward up in areas of Montana. Temps are only in the 50s and 60s there at the current time, but those rains appreciated from a pasture land and rangeland standpoint, spring grains as well, although harvest at the same time is getting underway. Meanwhile, central and southern plains, I know it's early August, you can still pop the thermometer to 100-degree heat, and they're seeing that over the next day or so out there. And still a very kind of warmish to at times hottish, but not out of control, mid to late summertime weather pattern on the extended maps and charts going forward. So if you're still looking to rack up growing degree day units, we need more rain in those central and southern winter wheat areas, of course, with upcoming planting operations. Like I said, there's no big headlines if we stay away from the severe stuff. Keep an eye on the tropics, by the way, in the next probably 2 or 3 weeks. We will be in relatively good shape. The wet weather has been of appreciation down across areas of Georgia and Alabama into the Carolinas. Last week, 105-degree heat. The heat indices pushing 115. That has since broken, but from Raleigh-Durham down to the eastern parts of Alabama, some flood watches up and in effect. But those rains at the same time have improved topsoil moisture levels by about 10 percentage points or so. So what was a wet spring and wet early summer, grounds dried out a little bit in the heat down there. Now we're getting some additional recharge. And so things are relatively in good order down there. And there's maybe some enhancement to maybe that rainfall in the coming days with a little spurious tropical-ish looking system. Same places where it's been organizing any of these things off north and east of about Jacksonville and a westward movement, probably no named indication out of that system going forward here the next couple of days. And the fires are the story, not only out of the Canadian forest, but in the Pacific Northwest, Washington State, and Oregon, although they've had a couple of showers and a marine layer push of at least wetter air. The fires have expanded through parts of eastern California, northern Arizona, Utah as well. Not that direction coming in from the upper level winds for now. That may change later on into the weekend as it applies to the Midwest and the Corn Belt. But look at the acreage, about 123,000 up in smoke across sections of northern Arizona, and about 70,000 in eastern areas, the parts of the Sierra and eastern California. Because of lightning, you delve out these mid and upper level lightning strikes. There's no rain per se coming out of the thunderstorms, dry based as we call them, and that's why you light up that very tender vegetation out there in the Pacific Northwest. At least the monsoon setup for now has kind of wound down temporarily so across the southwestern reaches of the country. 2 areas of wet weather going forward this afternoon in the Big Sky Country. North Dakota has a couple of spotty showers and thunderstorms, 20-30% coverage into parts of Illinois and Indiana. Most of the organized rains down through the panhandle of Florida, central Gulf Coast, across central and eastern areas of Cotton Belt country, and into the mid-Atlantic region. And that trend will continue in through tonight, and the diurnal stuff that forms up in the warmth of the day over the central and southern Corn Belt winds on down. A little more moisture for the Dakotas and the Red River Valley of the north. So some additional dryness and drought improvement there. That will shift tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, into northern parts of Minnesota, and the western reaches of the Corn Belt may see these 20 to maybe 40% outbreaks of showers and thunderstorms scattered. Again, it's a process that we're going to start now. It's underway of moving into this drier, still kind of droughty-ish weather pattern going forward into the second half of August and in through September. And harvest season, like we've been talking about, this is going to work to our benefit with the upcoming harvest season and crop maturity, probably an early and often harvest season expected. The southeastern rains continue on. We pick up the showers and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon into the Arrowhead of Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and they trail back west across the Nebraska Panhandle. That's 95 to 100-degree heat over the central and southern plain states, by the way. That developing warm front. And there will be a push of some 90-degree weather, temporarily so into parts of the Midwest coming up this weekend. A couple of isolated, widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. Northern Corn Belt Thursday morning, still lingering across the Atlantic coast, the Gulf Coast. Those are the sea breeze fronts. They'll work and converge inward, inland into the Florida Peninsula during the course of Thursday afternoon. Next 48 hours, you can see really 3 areas: Pacific Northwest, Washington State. That is good news. Hopefully staying away from the lightning end of it. An inch or 2 expected across the northern and eastern Dakota Territory, Red River Valley of the North, into the upper Midwest areas of the Corn Belt, Minnesota, and some of that 1/4 to 1/2 inch, maybe into about the areas of eastern Nebraska and western Iowa. You can see the covering over the next couple of days favoring the Carolinas down through eastern and southern Georgia and areas of southern Mississippi, Alabama. So maybe those double crop areas of the southeastern states will get the rain, and humidity is up, but the temperatures are down. I'm sure that certainly helps some of the poultry operations as well. Really the toughest from a livestock standpoint will be some of that heat in the central and southern plains, high plains areas over the next couple of days. So slight risk, that's category 2 out of 5 on the setup for severe weather across the Dakotas for this afternoon. There's the fire threat, clearly defined in all those shades of red and orange into the western states, down in Arizona and New Mexico. And it just takes one lightning bolt and you're off to the races on redeveloping or renewing or starting up another round of increased and expanded fires across the west and southwestern parts of the country. There's the tropics getting a little busier now. Saharan dust is kind of making a move more back towards the coast and inland areas, I believe around Ethiopia. I get my African geography right, and down at maybe at 5 degrees north of the equator. So the dust issues winding down. Wind shear is still there, but weakening. So you can see Dexter that rapidly formed late Sunday night in the open waters of the Atlantic, moving out to sea. That little X is that thing that's going to make its way westward across the Carolinas, Florida, and Georgia. Don't think that'll be named, but keeping an eye on this number 2 area and another X area coming around just north of the equator. If they do hold together, they'll encounter very hot, high pressure area up aloft. So I'm not sure if that's going to have any development, but going forward, we're getting something finally coming off the African coast. So I think with time, we begin to ramp up the tropical weather pattern in the Atlantic, and that in turn should build up and strengthen high pressure across the middle part of the country, hence winding down most of the organized rains that we've seen much of the summertime season. Tropical basin, still busy, still El Nino. I don't care what people are telling me. I think it's an El Nino setup, still looks that way, walks and talks the same way. You got 2 or 3 systems out there across the open waters of the Pacific, all moving westward and westbound. That X may be off of Acapulco and the old, at least parts of Central America, could influence the monsoon setup probably towards late in the weekend or early next week in the southwestern reaches of the country. Going forward, another 1 to 4 inches of rain across parts of the Carolinas and through Florida. Good news there. Good news for the upper Midwest, northern plains, an inch or 2 the next 5 days out of the Dakotas, Minnesota, northern Great Lakes region. Western states, no change there. Ongoing fires, fuels are certainly there. Dry-based thunderstorms, low afternoon humidity. We can't get the monsoon going in a hurry here, but like we had a couple of weeks ago in the southwestern part of the country. And extreme heat, 115, wouldn't be surprised. Death Valley gets to 120 in the desert southwest. And so the core of the real tough heat for man and beast remaining over the southwestern reaches of the country, but we'll get a little trickle down or up effect of some of that heat once in a while across the middle part of the country. Again, no real cold air in sight. Coolest of the weather going forward out through Montana, the Dakotas. And so crop maturity still continues to be at an accelerated pace at the warm weather going forward. Upper air charts for Friday through early next week. You can see that that U-shaped trough configuration in the Pacific Northwest moves into the plains, northern plains Saturday to Sunday. Heads through the northwestern and northern Corn Belt Monday to Tuesday. Hence showers and thunderstorms. Modest cool off. You can see the hot high, if you will, the H over the southwest, reestablishing itself in the wake of that trough. So the heat's back into play there. No organized rain in that part of the country, but there'll be another eastward advance on some of that heat building into the middle part of the country, mid to late portions of next week and into the Corn Belt. So probably some good coverages on the rainfall over the weekend. Northern Corn Belt, iffy and scattered central areas, and not much to speak of down south, as you would expect for early August on rainfall distribution across the middle part of the country. And you can see that frontal system, a couple of them making their way out of the Canadian Prairie through the northern and central plains across the Corn Belt locales. So again, some opportunity for some meaningful rainfall, a push of cooler, drier air. Maybe not quite the cool off that we had last weekend, but temperatures back down a few knocks. So that's good. No extreme heat on man and beast in the back 40. The beat goes on with, again, getting probably the last of anything organized, I think, on rainfall. It will tend to begin to diminish the chances around here, these weather systems moving forward as we approach mid-August and beyond. The next 7 days, an inch or 2. We'll take it over the eastern plains, much of the northern and western Corn Belt, 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch, eastern and southeastern areas, 1 to 2, maybe some spots 3 to 5 inches of rain through the eastern Carolinas, through Georgia, coastal sections of the Gulf Coast area, and down through central and south Florida as well, mostly attributed to the sea breeze fronts moving inland off the Atlantic and off the Gulf during the afternoon hours. And there's drought monitor from late last week, and we made some localized modest improvement into parts of northern Illinois. The rains where it's been, we've had this ongoing dry issue in northern Illinois and Michigan and parts of Indiana, but when we get timely rains, and that certainly trumps everything else that's going on from a crop standpoint, as in conditions continue to be quite favorable away from some of that derecho-driven stuff that we had about 10 days ago out towards the Corn Palace area. Some modest improvement through Nebraska, the Dakotas, some in through Montana. The worst of it still along the divide into the upper Rio Grande and points on westward, even central and south Florida, making improvement. The Everglades still has some work to go and down through the Florida Keys. There's the next 6 to 10 days, a little troughiness over the middle part of the country. So keep introducing at least a couple of shower and thunderstorm outbreaks going forward as we head through the end of the first week and into the second week of August. And I think after that, then that circulation, that H, that closed area through the southwest southwest moves into the middle part of the country. Tropics begin to get busy and active third to fourth week of the month of August. And we should be able to go off to the races at that point with a busier and probably a ramped up hyperactive mid to late tropical weather season in the Atlantic Basin. Next 6 to 10 days, nothing to squabble about here. This is off the Weather Service confusers, and warmth across the west, the southwest, Corn Belt, a little dip in the jet stream into the northern plains. So a little more cooler, drier air for livestock operations, but that will return to another push of warm weather, probably more pronounced cool off of the northern and central plains, as we talked about on This Week in Agribusiness, as we approach the Labor Day holiday. So a good month out before we get anything significant there. Meanwhile, kind of a broad brush. You can't really read a lot into these rainfall patterns as we get into this point in summertime, but a little better than average setup on moisture. Maybe not necessarily completely on board with this, but certainly no extreme or drought-ridden weather pattern. Just a winding down, a diminishing of rainfall opportunities, just as the crop is maybe getting ready to move into its final stages of development here in the next 2 or 3 weeks to come. Next live stream, by the way, August 20th at 1 o'clock. We will update the fall outlook, some thoughts on wintertime for the upcoming harvest season, which looks to be pretty good from this vantage point, and how the tropics as well, which have been pretty much disappointing if you're into that kind of thing. But from our standpoint, what you and I have been talking about, Sarah, it's been kind of playing out accordingly. Not much going on, and nor really is anything expected until sometime in the 3rd or 4th week of the month of August. That system offshore of Africa is probably going to move into the open waters, then swing around, high pressure, move back out to sea if it even develops here in the coming next 3 or 4 days. So that's it from the weather office. I got no headlines for you. It's steady as she goes, as Finkel used to say. So
when it comes to weather, we like no headlines. So
yes.
all's good. We're not going to blame you for not
boring and vanilla and
us, Greg.
Yeah, nothing going on. So but you still got to keep checking in with me. That's the deal.
Oh yes, yes, and we will do that on Friday. We'll check in with Greg again, and of course you can watch Greg every weekend on This Week in Agribusiness and hear him on a bunch of radio stations across the country. So whenever you need an update, just turn to Greg. That's always a good place to go. That's where I go.
And right here at feedstuff365.com. Absolutely.
Yep. Very good. All right, Greg, until next time, thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us as well.